Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session. You are watching body movements part 2. In the last class we have discussed about what are the movements, and we ended the class with a small activity to understand ball and socket joint. Okay, a model. Then it's very interesting. Have you prepared at home? You can easily do this activity, perform this activity at home also. Okay children, so like this we are going to discuss about these are the different kinds of joints which are present in our skeleton, which makes the movement possible. We could able to, so in the yesterday's class what we have understood, it is possible to bend a bone or a part of our body if there is only a joint. What is a joint? A joint is the place where the parts, two parts are attached together, isn't it? Okay, this place, for example, here it is a joint, here it is a joint, here it is a joint. So these are all the places where you can find the joints. That's why we could able to move. Okay, bend, stretch, all these are possible only due to the presence of these joints. Okay children, so let us proceed to know more about the ball and socket joint. So the ball is like the part of the shoulder. Okay, in the yesterday's image, okay, the ball is like the part of the shoulder to which your arm is joined. The rounded end of one bone fits into the cavity. Cavity means a hollow space. Okay, the round end of one bone fits into the cavity of the other bone. Such a joint allows movements in all directions. In all directions. Okay, so here see, for example, this is a ball and socket joint in the hip region. So this is a thigh bone fix, okay, into the hip girdle, hip bone. Okay, it's like a bowl, and in the it is like a ball. Okay, ball and socket joint. So we can able to walk, we can able to run, we can able to stretch. Okay, so here can you name another such a joint you can think of recollecting the body movements we tried in at the beginning, no? So try to recall where these ball and socket joints are present. Yes. Okay, you can bowl the ball because of or with the help of ball and socket joint. Your shoulder and arm bone, okay, your hip region and thigh bone, these are the best examples of ball and socket joints. Okay, so next joint, pivot joint. Pivot or pivotal joint, the joint where our neck joins the head is a pivotal joint. The joint where our neck joins the head is a pivotal joint. It allows us to bend our head forward and backward and turn the head to over right or left, isn't it? Try these movements. Okay, nowadays you are sitting hours in front of a computer or in front of a mobile screen or tabs, laptops. Okay, you try to move your neck. How are these movements? Okay, you can move your neck from left to right or from right to left. You can bend your neck, you can lift your neck. Okay, you can bend front, you can bend back, you can bend right side, you can bend left side. Okay, so these movements are different from those of our arm that can rotate a complete circle. Okay, previously ball and socket joint, complete circle you can rotate the arm in its ball and socket joint, but the movement of the neck is different when compared. In a pivotal joint, a cylindrical bone rotates in a ring. A cylindrical bone rotates in a ring. See here. So this is the pivotal joint. Okay. You can bend your head. You can stretch back. Okay. And you can bend side because of this pivotal joint. Next, hinge joint. Next joint is hinge joint. In a pivotal joint, a cylindrical bone rotates in a ring. Now, hinge joint. Open and close a door a few times. You can open it, close it, open it, close it. Observe the iron hinges are there, hinges of the door carefully. So they allow the door to move back and forth, isn't it? Pull or push. Okay, back and forth. Let us look at the kind of movement allowed by a hinge. Make a cylinder with a cardboard. Here preparing a hinge joint model. Okay, here directions of movement allowed by a hinge like joint. Okay, make a cylinder like this. Okay, with cardboard or thick chart paper as shown in this figure. Attach a small pencil to the cylinder by piercing the cylinder at the center here. Okay, as shown in the figure. Make a hollow half cylinder from cardboard such that the rolled up cylinder can fit inside it easily. So here two cylinders are there. Do you observe? Okay, one is yellow color and one is brown color. The yellow color is half cylinder such that you can cut it so that this cylinder can fit in it. Okay, so make a hollow half cylinder, that is yellow color here, from the cardboard such that the rolled up cylinder can fit inside it easily. The hollow half cylinder with the rolled up cylinder sitting inside it allows movement like a hinge. Okay, it allows movement like a hinge in only one direction, either back or forth, back or forth. Okay, so try to move the rolled up cylinder. How does it move? How is this movement different from what we saw with other constructed ball and socket joint? Okay, in ball and socket joint in all directions the movement is, but here the movement is in only back and forth, one direction only, either back or forth. We saw this kind of movement at the elbow. You saw this kind of movement at the elbow. You can see here. This is knee and elbow. These are the two places where you can find this kind of joint. What we have constructed in the figure is different from a hinge, of course, but it illustrates the direction in which a hinge allows movement. The elbow has a hinge joint that allows only a back and forth movement. Okay, here you can see. Can you think of more examples of this such joint? Knee. Knee is another example of such a joint. Which joint? Hinge joint. Why it is called as hinge joint? Just like hinge of a door, which allows the door to move only back and forth. In the similar manner, the joint which is present in the elbow and knee allow only movement in one direction. Okay, that's why it is called a hinge joint. So some joints between the bones in our head are different from those we have discussed so far. Okay, the bones cannot move at these joints. Okay, such joints are called fixed joints. Okay, when you open your mouth wide, you can move your lower jaw away from your head, isn't it? Only lower jaw will move, upper jaw is fixed. Try to move your upper jaw. Now you try to move the upper jaw. No, we can't. Are you able to move it? No, only lower jaw will move. There is a joint between the upper jaw and the rest of the head, which is a fixed joint. Which is a fixed joint. Next, we discussed only some of the joints that connect parts of our body. So what gives the different parts of the body their different shapes? Okay, when you open your mouth wide, what happens? You can move only your lower jaw away from your head. Okay, if you try to move your upper jaw, so are you able to move it? No. So there is a joint between the upper jaw and the rest of the head, which is called a fixed joint. Okay, so now let us discuss what gives the different parts of the body their different shapes. If you wanted to make a doll, what will you make first? Perhaps a framework to give the doll shape, isn't it? Skeleton, framework to give the doll shape before making its outer structure, isn't it? Definitely. The bones in our body also form a framework to give a shape to our body. This framework is called a skeleton. Okay, how do we know that this is the shape of a human skeleton? Okay, because the framework resembles the structure of our body. That's why we can easily identify that it is the shape of a human skeleton. In your laboratory also you can check. There is a skeleton made up of plaster of Paris. Okay, this is the human skeleton. Okay, your head, the body is divided into head, thorax and abdomen, 3 parts. So you possess a pair of limbs, hands, legs. Okay, here is the rib cage, skull. These are all the parts of a skeleton. So how do we know the shape of different bones in our body? We can have some idea about the shape and the number of bones in some parts of our body by feeling them. One way we could know this shape better would be to look at the X-ray images of human body. Okay, you know very well, whenever any wound occur or any fracture occur, the doctor suggests you to take a X-ray. When you observe that X-ray, you will find the defect. Is there any damage occurred to the bone? Okay. So did you or anyone in your family ever have an X-ray of any part of your body taken? Sometimes when we are hurt or have an accident, the doctors use these X-ray images to find out about any possible injuries that might have happened to the bones, isn't it? So this is the skeleton, and they observe the X-ray. The X-rays show the shapes of the bones in our bodies, isn't it? Feel the bones in your forearm, upper arm, lower leg and upper leg. Try to find the number of bones in each part. Okay, there are 30 bones are there in each limb. Okay, so only the long bones you can easily feel. Okay, similarly feel the bones of your ankle and knee, those joints, knee joints, and compare these with the X-ray images. You can see in this figure, this is the X-ray. Okay, the X-ray image of ankle and knee joints. Okay, this is the knee joint, this is the ankle. And here these are the bones of hand. Okay, the bend your fingers, are you able to bend them at every joint? How many bones does your middle finger have? Okay, the digits, each finger has some digits, phalanges, tarsals, metatarsals, like that. In the anatomy we are going to study about these parts, and the system, the study which deals with this bones, the structure and the frameworks, it is called the skeleton system. Okay, osteology is the study of bones, especially bones study is called osteology. Okay, bend your fingers, and are you able to bend them at every joint? How many bones does your middle finger have? Come on, count, children. How many bones? The middle finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, isn't it? Next, feel the back of your palm. It seems to have many bones, isn't it? So this is the back, bones of the hand. If your wrist flexible, it is made up of several small bones. They are called carpels. Okay, the small bones of the hands or the wrist, they are called carpels. What will happen if it has only one bone? What will happen? You can't move it flexibly. We can't grip anything. Okay, those small bones and small joints help us to move the fingers, to bend the fingers. Okay, the flexible movements possible. Okay, children, hope you understood. Read the textbook, clarify the doubts with the teacher. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.